Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to story time. Let's see who we have in the building tonight. Let's see. I hope everybody had a great day today. I feel like a person that was captured by the Martians, as they say. They say when the Martians catch you, they probe you and stuff. That's how I feel. I've been to the doctor the last couple of days. Gigi took me today, and actually one of the procedures they gave me has my stomach bothering me, but I decided I was not going to let another day go by without story time. Let's see who we have in the building. Hello, we have the hardest working man in the YouTube streets, Kane E. Moore. Look at that. My little cozy fire stuff went out. Isn't that something? I guess the fan, I got a little hot and turned on the fan and it blew it out. He's actor slash basketball player slash full-time student, part-time vlogger, and now he's a band member. He wears many hats, but he still finds time to find his way over to story time. I appreciate you for that, Kane E. Moore. We have Machi in the building tonight. How are you, Machi? Welcome to story time. If you all can hear and see me okay, somebody just throw a thumbs up in the chat. We have Be the Difference Clothing in the building, says Gigi Raid. Yes. Thank you, Gigi, for that raid. And thank you all raiders for following Gigi over to story time. Be the Difference. I got to order that new pair of socks you got. I love those socks. You ought to check Be the Difference out. Wonderful channel. She has some merch. I just love those socks with the quotes and everything on them. So check her out. We have Conan Gray in the building. I need that.
You don't want them.
It's already out. I ain't gonna worry about it. I need that this way. Back where it was. That's right there. That's good. Thank you. We have Conan Gray in the building. How are you? Says hello, new here. We have Leilani's Kitchen in the building. How are you, sis? I appreciate you. No, I need something to drink. You said it's too. Thank you for following Gigi, Leilani. We have Disrupticons in the building tonight. Disrupticon says hello, first time here. I thought you were here the last time, Disrupticon, unless I'm thinking about seeing you in Gigi's live, but I thought you were here the last story time that I did. But anyways, whether it's your first time, whether it's your second, I appreciate you coming over and following the Gigi raid. We have Zachary Knowles in the building. How are you, Zachary? Zachary says, hey. We have Ronan Park in the building. How are you, Ronan? Thank you so much for joining us for story time. I know this is not your first rodeo, and I appreciate you. Thank you. We have Over 50 and Fantabulous in the building. How are you, sis? Says, please thumbs up, everyone. Thank you for blessing our sister. Thank you so much for that reminder, sis. I appreciate you coming to see us in story time tonight. We have Jay Waitford here. Jay Waitford, I know this is not your first rodeo, but we certainly appreciate you coming back. Jay Waitford says hello. Be the Difference is shouting out Machi, Zachary Knowles, Disrupticons, Kanie Moore, Ronan Park, over 50 and Fantabulous, and me. We have Bubbles Butterfly coming over with the GG raid. Thank you so much, Bubbles Butterfly, for following GG in the raid. I think this might be your first time in story time, but I certainly appreciate you. We have our very own Gifty Plus, aka 50 Plus, aka Gifty Plus, in the building tonight. How are you, brother? I hope you're doing okay. I appreciate you. He says, hey, we have Limbless back in the building with us. How are you, Limbless? I know you've been in story time before. I certainly appreciate you coming back. Gigi says, welcome to story time. Bubbles Butterfly shouting out over 50 and Fantabulous says, yay, here. We have Connor Maynard back in the building. How are you? He says, hello. We have Brand the Night Wolf back in story time. I appreciate you guys coming back. We have our very own Edward Smart, the intellectual in the group, the most featured male YouTuber in Storytime land, Edward Smart. Edward's featured so much, other YouTubers thought he was a celebrity. And then they realized he was a celebrity, but in the YouTube streets. We certainly appreciate you, Edward. Edward says, hey, Deborah. Bubbles Butterfly says, wow, her background is so beautiful. I would love to sit and read right there on a rainy day. Yes, it is. Actually, it's Gigi's background. I still sit by my fireplace or whichever friend house I'm at the time, and have the candles. Normally the candles are going, and in the wintertime the actual fireplace is lit, but it's a little warm outside these days, so I do the candles instead of the fireplace, Bubbles. But yes, I appreciate that you enjoy the background. My candles went out. They were lit earlier, but I've got a little one of my personal summers and needed a fan on me. So this is Gigi's background. I'm here because she was gracious enough to take me to all of my appointments. I had appointments Thursday, Friday, 2 today, 1 yesterday, 2 today, and I got another one Monday. So it was just easier for me to stay at her house for her to take me than for her to drive where I live, pick me up, and keep with the back and forth. Gigi says, welcome to story time to Kanie Moore, Machi, Connor, Maynard, Brandon Night Wolf. 50 Plus is shouting out Be the Difference Clothing, Zachary Knowles, Machi, Kanie Moore, Lalani's Kitchen, over 50 and Fantabulous, Ronan Park, Gigi's SGlutenFreeLab, Edward Smart, and Bubbles Butterfly. He says hello. Butters Butterfly shouting out 50 Plus. 50 shouting out Limbless, Brandon Night Wolf, Bubbles. He says hello. Gigi says welcome to Storytime to Leilani's Kitchen. Bubbles Butterfly, over 50 and Fantabulous, Ronan Park, Edward Smart, and Bubbles is shouting out 50 Plus says I'm new. So nice to meet you. Well, we certainly appreciate meeting you, Bubbles. We have Angel's Army in the building tonight. He says, Deborah, glad tidings. Hey, Deborah, how are you, Angel? So glad to have you back in story time. Gigi says, welcome story time to Angel's Army. Be the Difference and Limbless. Bubbles is shouting out. She says, oh my goodness, Deborah, do you have a heating pad for your tummy? Yes, I do. The heating pad is my friend. Unfortunately, mine is kind of on the fritz. It just died on me like the other day, so I'm gonna have to go out and buy another one. But it's definitely my friend. I think I'm married to that heating pad. Yeah, I figured out real quick what to do. Gigi says welcome to Storytime to Zachary Knowles. Kanie Moore is thumbing up, I guess based on when I said, can everybody hear and see me okay? Thank you for that, Kane. Edward Smart says hey to 50 Plus and sGlutenFreeLab. Be the Difference is shouting out Gigi and Angel's Army and Bubbles Butterfly. Bubbles throwing up, give me a thumbs up. Everything looks and sounds good. Thank you for that. Be the Difference says praying for me. Thank you, sis. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I know the prayers are going far, I tell you. Because I know there were times when it was a whole lot worse than it is. Bubbles shouting out, be the difference, shouting out Leilani's Kitchen. We have our very own 7 Lex Fairy in the building, the most featured fairy in Storytime land. How are you, sis? She says, hey, Miss Deborah. She's all smiles and clapping, waving. And we appreciate you coming to see us, 7 Lex Fairy. We have Misha Lee in the building. Says, hey, Miss Deb, I got your book today. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. For those of you who may be new, I am a published author. I don't have my book on hand with me to show you, but the title of my book is called My Struggle in Broken Pieces, A Healing for My Soul. And it is available at Amazon. Misha Lee, along with several others, were gracious enough to purchase my book. Aside from the ones who won it, she was gracious enough to purchase it. And she just let me know she got it today. Well, thank you again, Misha Lee, for your support. 7 Lex Fairy says, hey, everyone. Misha Lee says, hey to Joy. We have, is it T-Frey, number 4, says, hello, everyone, first time here. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us for story time. We have Disrupticon says, no, I have never been here, but you do see me following Team K to Gigi. Okay, well, I certainly appreciate you following the Gigi raid over to story time tonight. And I hope that something you hear here is enjoyable to you. Bubbles Butterfly shouting out. T. Frey says, I'm new here too. Okay. Disrupticon says, Gigi. Conan Gray says, I am in Kane Band. Oh, okay, wonderful. Leilani's Kitchen says, hello to everyone that said hi. Sorry, I took a quick potty and iced tea break. Oh, that's wonderful. Got your iced tea ready. Usually I'll have some kind of beverage. I prefer coffee. Sometimes I'll do tea. It just depends. And then a lot of times I just do water. 7 Lex is shouting out Leilani. Edward's shouting out Leilani. 7 Lex shouting out 50 plus. Leilani's saying hey to Edward. And 7 Lex Fairy says, how's it going, everyone? Leilani's shouting out Angel, says my love. Bubbles Butterfly says, 7 Lex Fairy, I'm feeling so blessed. Happy Friday. How are you? Yes, I am too, under the circumstances, Bubbles Butterfly, because any day above ground is always makes for a wonderful day. 7 Lex Fairy says hi to Bubbles, says I'm doing well, feeling blessed and highly favored. Hey, it's Web Savvy Cafe hanging in the balances there. How are you, sis? So glad you could join me tonight. Misha Lee says, can't wait to read it. Okay. I hope something said in it blesses your soul, Misha Lee. Bubbles shouting out 7 Lex saying amen. Yes. T Frey 4 says you are welcome. 7 Lex says hit the like button, everyone. Oh, okay. Gigi has her copy handy. For those of you who are new, this is my book. It's called My Struggle in Broken Pieces, A Healing for My Soul. And it is available at Amazon.com. 7 Legs says hit that like button, everyone. Thank you for that reminder, sis. Gigi says welcome to Storytime, the 7 Legs Fairy, Web Savvy, Misha Lee, Disrupticon, and T Frey. Web Savvy says hey, mods in chat. 7 Legs says hey, Gigi's Gluten-Free Lab, how are you? Misha Lee says hi to Gigi. Bubbles Butterfly says Gigi's Gluten-Free Lab, I'm glad you sent us over here. Deborah is so sweet and you are so sweet. Thank you so much, Bubbles Butterfly. Well, look who's peeping at us. It's Mr. Wise. So glad to see you tonight, Mr. Wise. How are you? I know this is not your first time in Storytime. I think you've been here before, and I certainly appreciate you coming back. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with our story. And anyone who comes in after that, I'll come back and shout you all up after the fact. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with our story. Once there was an elderly widow named Deaconess Bless K. She was over 50 and fantabulous and a sweetie pie. The townspeople called her Frugal Granny because she made fabulous designs on a budget. She had the billionaire mindset because she watched her profit margin. She would always tell the ladies, it's all about me, myself, and DIYing it. She lived with her only son, Akeem Rosales, inside the Barraboy Woods in the Julie City. She thought to herself, I'm just so blessed to have my son, and it's a wonderful life we have together. Her son was one of the lion hunters licensed by the local magistrate, Edward Smart, following the same profession of his father, Brother Herb, and grandfather, Daddy Joe P.H., who was a friendly black man. Akeem's share of the profits from the sale of lion skins, meat, and bones was sufficient to keep the small mud hut well provisioned for himself and his mother, Frugal Granny. All was well until powerful winds began to blow. The KemSquad thought to themselves, it's all hot air, until a particularly bitter winter named Storm Monroe developed. They knew they'd have iffy success with trying to catch lions, but they stayed the course. During the snowstorm, blowhole and blast force separated Akeem Rosales from his fellow hunters. The KemSquad, Angel's Army, the Foodie Squad, and the Brotherhood Squad all searched for Akeem without success. As the search for Akeem began, one of the hunters, Commander Rankert, yelled out to Akeem, "Where are you? It's me, Winston. Yes, honey." But he never got a response from Akeem. Akeem tried to make it to Mary's place, located at 23 Jackson Street, Jackson, in a nearby cabin in the woods. But instead, he became food for a hungry lioness because he wandered too close to her cub's den. Their encounter was like Beauty and Beast. The difference being he was no beauty, but he got eaten up by the beast. Frugal Granny was in the kitchen with Lynn, and they were vibing with the Rude Girl 72 when she got the horrible news about Akeem. Hearing such news messed up her Thursday vibes. After her initial shock and grief subsided, Frugal Granny realized she was in a desperate situation. Her and Akeem used to live it up, she thought to herself. Now there she was, an old woman left all alone without a husband or a son to help provide for her. So she went to plead with the magistrate, Edward Smart, to provide her with compensation for the loss of her son Akeem, who was her only source of support. The magistrate decreed that henceforth that Deaconess Bless K, aka Frugal Granny, would have a small share of profits from the kill of each lion by Commander Rankert and the other hunters, the KemSquad, Angel's Army, the Foodie Squad, and the Brotherhood Squad. His decision didn't set well with the hunters because they had plenty of mouths of their own to feed. When the hunters succeeded in killing the lion that ate Frugal Granny's son Akeem, they decided not to give her a share of the profits. Instead, they brought her the lioness's newborn cub. He was a half-blind cub that looked like a small quivery ball of golden fur with wobbly legs and toothless gums. The rope they tied around his neck was so tight that it was practically choking the poor pup. After the hunters left, the lion cub wobbled over to where Frugal Granny sat and lay at her feet, licking her shoes. At first, she thought he was as annoying as Dee Dee. He instantly melted Frugal Granny's heart when she looked down at the helpless little creature, whose jade green eyes were glistening with tears. She bent down to rub his ears, saying, "They led you here to be killed, so I will name you Guided Lion." He continued to lick her shoes with his soft tongue as she looked at the lion cub, sighed, and then said, "They told me to butcher you and to salt and smoke your flesh for my meat supply. Your skin would make warm boots for my feet. Your bones are good for making lion bone wine to ease the pain in my old joints. But I cannot bear to kill you." "You are so young and vital, while I am so old and frail." Frugal Granny untied the rope from the little lion's neck and fed him a paste of cooked roots from Gigi's gluten-free lab with her fingers. Her son had a good supply of grains and roots in the outdoor shed, so she planned on stretching the food out to last her the entire winter. When the shed of firewood was running low, Frugal Granny was unable to keep herself very warm, so she slept curled up against the guided lion, whose soft fur gave her some cozy relaxation and warmth. Each night when she would settle down, she'd just look at Guided Lion and say, "I can just relax now." Once every so often, 50-plus women from nearby villages located in a town called Shawana's Creative Circle, Sheila E., Angela Critters, Brown Milk TV, Bubbles Butterfly, Leilani's Kitchen, Sakuna Swana Channel, Bonnie Rose, Tanya Lambert, Deborah Akpa, Pandy Hair Candy and More, Miss Furola Sierra, Be the Difference Clothing, Indoor Outdoor Gardener, Web Savvy Cafe, Backyard Gardener, T-Fray 4 would bring crochet yarn from Yarn and Craft Works by Julie and Courtney the Yarn Lady's Closet for Frugal Granny and her friend Ola Joe the Crocheting Sailor to do. Frugal Granny and Ola Joe were very handy with the crochet needle. They paid them for their labor with dry venison and small sacks of grain. At first, they did not find Guided Lion's presence alarming because he was no bigger than a little piglet. When spring came, he had grown into the size of a calf, so they were frightened of his full set of teeth and claws. The women told their husbands, Commander Rankert, and the other hunters in the KemSquad, Angel's Army, the Foodie Squad, and the Brotherhood Squad about Guided Lion. So the men came to kill the young lion. Frugal Granny armed herself with her son's hunting spear and threatened to gut anyone who dared to harm her beloved pet. As she yelled out, "I've lost both my husband and my son. Guided Lion is the only companion I have now, so I shall go to see the magistrate and request to adopt him as my son." The hunters thought that Frugal Granny had lost her mind, so they just stood there staring at her. But since she was so determined, they dared not lay a hand on Guided Lion without Edward Smart, the magistrate's permission. They followed Frugal Granny and Guided Lion all the way to the courthouse. "Venerable Mother," said Edward Smart, the magistrate, "these are just my opinions, but I think your request is most unusual. Aren't you afraid that someday that lion might revert to his wild nature and devour you?" "Honorable sir, may I put my 2 cents in?" replied Frugal Granny, with tears in her eyes. "What is there to fear? I have lived too long already with this void from the loss of my husband and son, Akeem. The only worry I have now is being left totally alone. Please let me adopt Guided Lion, for he has become like a son to me." Edward Smart was known as Mr. Wise, the kind magistrate, and he didn't have the heart to refuse Frugal Granny's plea. He had his assistant draw up a document for the lion's adoption, and she reviews everything before submitting it to the magistrate. In order to protect Guided Lion from the hunters' arrows and spears, Magistrate Edward Smart ordered a large copper pendant to be made to hang around Guided Lion's neck. The words Fuchi were engraved on the pendant, meaning Lion's Son. To show her gratitude, Frugal Granny knelt in front of Magistrate Edward Smart and kissed his hands. Then she led Guided Lion back to their home in the Barrel Boy Woods. Once Frugal Granny received the pendant and placed it around Guided Lion's neck, she released him back into the wild. However, the affectionate lion came back often to visit his adopted mother, always bearing a gift in his mouth, either a dead deer or a large piece of tree branch. He would drop it on the ground before her and then lick her shoes. Afterwards, she would rub his ears like she did when he was a young pup and say, "It's perfect." Guided Lion cared for Frugal Granny's needs just as if he were her natural son for as long as she lived. After Frugal Granny died, the hunters noticed how Guided Lion guarded her tomb nightly. They left him alone to mourn the death of his mother, Deaconess Bless K, aka Frugal Granny. Guided Lion guarded Frugal Granny's grave for several years until one day Guided Lion was never seen again. Out of deep respect and admiration for the lion's son, the hunters erected a small stone monument at Frugal Granny's tomb site with the Guided Lion story engraved on it. Guided Lion became a household legend in Julie City. That concludes our story for tonight. I'm going to tell you who the YouTubers featured tonight were. Deaconess Bless K, Over 50 and Fantabulous, Sweetie Pie, Frugal Granny, Fabulous Designs on a Budget, The Billionaire Mindset, Me, Myself, and DIYing It, Akeem Rosales, Barrel Boy Woods, Julie City, Just So Blessed, It's a Wonderfal's Life, Brother Herb, Daddy Joe PH, A Friendly Black Man, The KemSquad, It's All Hot Air, Storm Monroe, Iffy Success, Blowhole, Blast Force, Commander Rancor, It's Me, Wanston, Yes, Honey, Mary's Place, 23 Jackson Street, Jackson, Cubs Den, Beauty and Beast, In the Kitchen with Lynn, Vibing with the Rude Girl 72, Thursday Vibes, Live It Up, Blind Cub, As Annoying as Dee Dee, Gigi's Gluten-Free Lab, Cozy Relaxation, Just Relax Now, 50 Plus, Sheila E, Angela Critters, Brown Milk TV, Bubbles Butterfly, Leilani's Kitchen, T-Fray 4, Sakuna Swana Channel, Bunny Rose, Tanya Lambert, Deborah Akpa, Pandy Hair Candy and More, Miss Full Roller Sarah, Be the Difference Clothing, Indoor Outdoor Gardener, Web Savvy Cafe, Backyard Gardener, Yarn and Crafts Works by Julie, Courtney the Yarn Lady's Closet, Ola Joe the Crocheting Sailor, Edward Smart, Just My Opinions, My 2 Cents, Void, Mr. Wise, She Reviews Everything, It's Perfect, Got It Lion, and that was everybody featured. That was all of the YouTubers featured in our story time tonight. Let's see who came in while I was reading, because I don't want to miss anybody. Mr. Wise, I was so excited to see you come in tonight. I get especially excited to see people when they come into story time on the night that they actually got featured. And so when I saw Mr. Wise, I was like, okay, Mr. Wise is here, so he get to see his little cameo in the story. Usually, okay, let's see. Okay, Bubbles Butterfly says, Mr. Wise, my buddy, happy Friday, friend. It's great to see you. 7Lex says, hey, Mr. Wise, get out the bushes, laugh out loud. Mr. Wise says, hey, how are you? 7Lex is laughing. Gigi says, welcome to Storytime, Mr. Wise. Bubbles Butterfly says, 7Lex fairy tale him, laugh out loud. If we have any birthdays in the house tonight, drop it in the link for me. Drop it in the chat, and we will celebrate your birthday story time style. So while I'm going through these comments, if you can drop, if you're celebrating in this Virgo season, and Miss Furola, correct me if I'm off for somebody with the zodiac, but I think we're still in the Virgo season. Mr. Wise says, hey, happy Friday to Bubbles. 7Lex Fairy shouting out Bubbles and laughing. Mr. Wise shouting out Gigi and says, shh, Lex, and he's looking. Lex is laughing. Bubbles says, Mr. Wise, she's laughing. Over 50 and Fantabulous is smiling. Be the Difference says, hey to Mr. Wise. Mr. Wise says, I swear I thought you was doing this off memory. I was stunned. Doing what? The story off memory? No, I write it out and then I read it from my laptop. No, I get these brain farts, Mr. Wise, so I wouldn't be able to remember. I wouldn't be able to memorize this story. He says, hey, to Be the Difference. And aw, and oh no. Oh, he's crying. You're crying, Mr. That got you right under the left one, Mr. Wise. Web Savvy says, laugh out loud. We have Apostle Edgar Kapanga in the building tonight. How are you, Apostle? He says, hey to Joy. He says, hey to me. Bruce, we have Bruce Lafleur in the building. He says, preach, my sister. How are you, Bruce? I don't think I've ever seen you in story time, but I certainly appreciate you joining us tonight. I don't know at what point you walked in, but I hope that you caught our story. Be the Difference says, hey to Apostle Edgar Kapanga. And he says, hi, Joy. Gigi says, welcome to story time to Apostle Edgar. And to Bruce, Apostle says, thanks to Gigi. Gigi says, you are welcome to Apostle. Gigi says, wow, great story. Says, thank you, Gigi. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Edward Smart says, great story. Is always nice being the smartest guy in the room. Yes, Edward, I love your name with that play on intellect. Seven Legs says, nice story, Miss Deborah. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, Seven Legs, for all your support. Web Savvy says, I loved it. I saved the saved adopted lion protected the one that loved him and whom was in his corner. Right? Web Savvy, sometimes you have them to bite the hand that feeds them. Be the Difference says, thanks for letting me be in the story. You are quite welcome, sis. Misha Lee says, hope you have a good weekend. You too, Misha. So I guess we don't have any birthdays tonight. For those of you who are new to Storytime, if you're wondering how the names, I come up with the names in the story, I use YouTubers who are either subscribed to me or I'm subscribed to them, or I kind of broaden it because I was kind of running out of names. But I broaden it, so I also use YouTubers' names that I may see on a regular in someone else's live. And so that's how I come up with the names. I first go through my subscriptions for both my channels and pull names. But the names are featured in the story based on your name. So even though I have all these subscribers and you know, I'm subscribed to people, some names are a lot harder than others to feature in the story, and some are a lot easier. Like, for instance, Deaconess Bless K. That's somebody recently subscribed to me, and you would have to have a certain place that you could put names like that, or other names. So a lot of the names are put in, and a lot of the names of the YouTubers dictate the storyline as well. Now, I do have stories like this particular one. It doesn't happen often, but it has happened about 3 or 4 occasions. I think this is like the 4th time it's happened, and we've done like 80 something story times, and it only happened, maybe this is the 4th time, where I'll be in Gigi's live and I have a section where I can just add names in on the spot. So if the story is talking about a group of people and stuff like that, then I can add those names in. I can pick names from her live up until like about 9:30. I like to stop at 9:30, but sometimes I push it. It depends on how well I'm situated for story time. I'll push it to like 9:45. So if you came in up until that time, a lot of times, then your name gets inserted in the slot where I could put a lot of people. And in this particular story, the section where it said 50 plus women came to see her and Ola Joe is where I inserted those names. Now, some of those names I inserted already. Like a lot of the people that are always in story time, like Be the Difference Clothing, Web Savvy, Pandy, Indoor Outdoor Garden, Miss Full Roller. A lot of those names I had already placed in that slot. And then while I was in Gigi's live, I added Brown Milk and Bubbles Butterfly and some of the other names. But quite a few of them I got out of Gigi's live. And sometimes if I can remember a name as I'm reading, like T. Frey, and I hope I pronounced that right, while I'm calling the names that I already have in there, because I don't have time to go back and look for the name and enter it. If I can remember the name, then I'll call it out with the other group of names in the story. And that's how, in case Bubbles, being that this is your first time in story time, in case you were wondering how your name just happened to be in a story that you came in for the first time, it was because I pulled your name from Gigi's live. And T. Frey, for your name, I saw once you came in my live. Since it was only one name, I tried to remember the name as I was reading. And that's how I do it. But that's where I get the names from for the stories. This is for you, those of you who are new also. The reason I do these stories this way is because this is my way of shouting out content creators. You know, people in the YouTube community, rather than doing it the traditional way. This is my way of shouting everybody out. And I also have started incorporating other people who are not YouTube content creators in my stories as well. Like Deborah Akpa is not a YouTube content creator. But these are people that are always supportive of me and Gigi's lives. So when I have people like that in her lives, that, you know, and they may not necessarily support me, but they support her. And when you support her, you support me. Because me and Gigi we down like 4 flat tires. So even if those people never came to my live, because they support Gigi, I incorporate them as well in my stories. And that's how I do my story time. So I guess we don't have any birthdays. We have I'm Tired in the building. I'm tired. Welcome to story time. You probably missed the story, but the great part about it is YouTube allow us to watch the replays. But I certainly appreciate you. Your name sounds familiar, and I think either you were in story time before, or I may have featured you in a story. But anybody who wants to know if they were in a story, I always put in the description area of the stories, I always go back and put every YouTuber that was featured in that story in the description area. So if people start looking to see if they were featured in a story, they could find it that way. Because a lot of times I have people who will be in my story time, and they'll recognize somebody's name who was they're subscribed to, or who's subscribed to them, and they'll go back and say, hey, you know, you were featured in a story in Deborah's Glad Tidings story time. And so I find people to go and they'll find those, and sometimes they'll come in my comment section and they'll say, wow, so and so told me you featured me, I appreciate it. They watch the replay, you know. Or sometimes they'll just come and end up in the next story time or whatever, but they'll let me know. So it's ways that people find out if they're in a story. I wish it was a way I could let them know in advance, but it's rare because story time takes a lot of work. I put a lot into writing these stories. And so a lot of times I'm writing up to the 9th hour while I'm in Gigi's live. And so it's hard to let people know, to put it out there in advance, who's featured in the story. Now tonight I was able to do it because my story was pretty much finished. And I did, when I posted the notification about story time tonight, I did put the names in the description area of who was going to be in the story tonight. But it's kind of hard to do that, and I never know in advance who's going to be in the story while I'm writing it. It's just as I'm writing, and based on, you know, the names, you know, or if I have a line, it'll prompt me to think about a name that I remembered that was out there in my channel or someone else's live that I saw, and so I'll start inserting the names like that. The inserting the names actually is what takes a lot of time with the story. It takes more time than if I just wrote out the story. But like I said, the names oftentimes dictate the lines, so it takes a lot of time too. Also searching for those names, because I can't always recall the names back in my head. If it's ones that I use a lot, like, or the people in my live, I remember their names a lot because they're there. Or, you know, people like Edward, who I use his name a lot, or Simply a Sweetheart, or 7X Fairy. I always know if I have a story that has a fairy, that's my go-to fairy. I have used another fairy before, but most times she's my go-to fairy. Anything centered around intellect, Edward Smart is my go-to guy for that. Him and Mr. Wise. You know, so that's how I do it. Let's see what you're saying here. Web Savvy says, laugh out loud, love it. down like 4 flat tires. I love it. How about we go back like car seats, laugh out loud. I never heard that one, Web Savvy. That's a new one. That's cute. We go back like car seats. That's funny. Edward says, when you showcase YouTube, if I see them in the streets, I let them know you shouted them out. Well, thank you for that, Edward. I knew somebody had to be telling them, because I've had people comment who I know I hadn't seen in any of my lives, you know, and so they let people know, and I certainly appreciate that. Well, says Deborah, and the work and time that you put into each story clearly shows. Thank you, Well Savvy. I'm just glad that you all enjoy it. You know, you probably heard me say it before, sometime last year when I first started doing story time, how I wasn't sure how adults would receive story time, but I thought it was something different that I could bring to the YouTube streets, because there's still you know, a lot of us still have exercise our inner child, you know, and so I've always liked stories, and I like writing. So I said, well, you know, I can only put it out there and see what kind of response I get from it. And it's so funny, because if anybody paid attention to my my banner on my channel as well as my intro, you'll see that my channel entails so much more than just story time. It's story time, inspirational messages, challenges, and poetry, poems. I like poetry, so poems. So all of that stuff is featured on my channel. But I'm known by Deborah, Deborah's Glad Tiding, that does story time. So unless you were a person running my playlist like a lot of you were, you wouldn't really know that about me unless you ran the playlist, because a lot of times I don't think people pay attention to my banner and intro, especially because they've gotten so accustomed to hearing the stories. But it includes all of that. And you know, maybe when you all get a chance, you can go check out some of my other content besides my stories. But I certainly appreciate you all. I look forward to story time just as much as you all do. And you know, I just couldn't get it together these last couple of I think I missed 3 story times. I think I missed what's the day? Friday. I missed Wednesday, Monday, and Friday before. I think it was that I missed. I just was determined to try to get it together to get a story out there today. I look forward as well. A lot of times I am tired, but it's like when it's time for story time, I get an extra burst of energy. You all energize me, knowing that you're anticipating my story, and I'm anticipating you all anticipating my story. So you all give me that extra push a lot of time, but it's just this past couple of weeks has been a little hard for me. Sometimes I get those periods where the fatigue is worse than other times. And for those of you who are new to my channel, I have health issues. I was diagnosed 2 years ago with stage 4 cancer. So, but I made up in my mind that they said I have the disease, but I wasn't going to let the disease have me. So I press and I push through the pain and the lack of energy. But you all energize me, because I love what I do, and you all appear to love what I do. And I applaud and appreciate you all for that, because without you all, there would be no Deborah's Glad Tidings. Also, I started a second channel. It's called Deb's Glad _Tidings. And Gigi, if you could drop that link for me, I appreciate it. If you could pull up the intro, Gigi, instead of a long video, if you could pull up that 17-second intro and share it out in the stream, I would certainly appreciate that. And that channel pretty much has inspirational messages, poems, and it has relaxation videos. Because my poetry, I've been given regular poetry and gospel poetry. So on that channel, you'll find the gospel poetry. On this channel, there's a poem I have on there. I do have one of the ones, but I have on this channel, I have a poem called Black Man, Black Man. So I want you all to check that out if you get a chance. I think you'll enjoy it. I've shared that poem at a couple of times. Some YouTubers had a poetry night, and I've shared my 3 poems during the poetry night, and it was fun, and they appeared to have enjoyed it, you know. And I did my thing and got on out the way. It was so funny because I went into Portal's poetry night one night, and I did the poem Black Man, Black Man, and I did it, and I was done. So I got down off the panel so somebody else could come, and he comes back on, and I guess they were wanted more, and he was like, Deborah, where you at? He was like, man, I'm here listening. Deborah done dropped the mic on us and walked off. And so I thought that was funny. But I think you all will enjoy it. And we also celebrate a birthday. Okay, my birthday is today. Okay, Disrupticon says it's his birthday today. So we're gonna celebrate Disrupticon's Storytime style. Gigi, I need your assistance if you could bring my props. Disrupticons, which birthday do you want? Do you want the Marilyn Monroe style or the Stevie Wonder style birthday? Gigi, my props are in a bag. I think they're down in like a shopping bag inside another bag, a grocery bag. If you can look and see, I'd appreciate it. Website says, okay. Bruce LaFleur says, I love the story. It went down tonight. Thank you. But Bruce, it hasn't gone down yet. It's getting ready to go down now. It's getting ready to get all the way live. Kane Moore says, I'm back. Gigi says, welcome to Storytime. I'm tired. You found them? In my things. In that room, I think. In a shopping bag inside a regular bag. If not, look inside the suitcase. I may have put them in there. Gigi says, thanks to Kane Moore. Web Savvy says, amen. That's the right attitude. Yes, Web Savvy. I refuse to just lay down and die. I just refuse to do that. Disrupticon says he wants Stevie Wonder. He says, did I spell that right? No, you didn't, but it don't matter. I can dig it. All right, let me pull it up. As much as I sing this thing, you all would think that I would know the lyrics. But I don't want to take a chance and stumble and mumble over Stevie. I got to pull them because they like to see me pull my hat off. They can't believe I'm bald-headed and do that. Thank you, Gigi. Okay. Here we go. This one is for Disrupticons. Happy birthday, Stevie Wonder style. And Disrupticons, when we finish Stevie Wonder, we're going to give you the 2 Live Crew birthday. And everybody in the live that's used to 2 Live Crew, you know what to do. But I'll let everybody else know. All right, here we go. This is for Disrupticon Stevie Wonder style birthday. Wait, I'm losing my hair here, y'all. In more ways than one. I already lost my hair. Now I'm losing my add-on here. All right. You know, it doesn't make much sense. There ought to be a law against anyone who takes offense at a day in your celebration. Because we all know in our minds that there ought to be a time that we can set aside to show just how much we love you. And I'm sure you would agree, it couldn't fit more perfectly than to have a world party on the day you came to be. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, yay! Happy birthday to Disrupt the Cons, Stevie Wonder style. Now we're gonna sing our way out of story time, 2 Live Crew birthday style. So for those of you who are new to the stream, when I say what's that number one or what's that favorite zodiac sign, because I never know which one is going to come out my mouth. I'll be trying to think it while I'm singing, and that's, for me, that's like chewing gum and walking at the same time, and I have difficulty doing that. So when I say what's that number one or favorite zodiac sign, you're going to throw Virgo in the stream. When I say Disrupt the Con is working that thing out, you're going to throw working that thing out in the stream. Or if I say Virgo is working that thing out, you're going to throw that in the stream. If I call any zodiac other than Virgo, I want you to say no. I don't care if it's your zodiac, because we are not celebrating you if you are not a Virgo in this Virgo season. Tonight we're celebrating Disrupticons on behalf of the Virgos in this Virgo season. So if I call anything other than Virgo, I want you to throw no in the stream. All right, here we go. I said, what's that number one zodiac sign? Virgo. I said, what's that number one zodiac sign? Virgo. Is it Capricorn? No. Is it Aries? No. Is it Cancer? No. Is it Gemini? No. What's that number one zodiac sign? Virgo. I said, what's that number one zodiac sign? Virgo. Is it Pisces? No. Is it Scorpio? No. Is it Leo? No. Is it Cancer? No. Disrupticon working that thing out. Disrupticon's working that thing out. Virgo working that thing out. Virgo working that thing out. Yay! Happy birthday to Disrupticons. We are celebrating Disrupticon Storytime style on behalf of the Virgos. That is all right. So happy birthday to you, Disrupticon. Those cakes and everything are going up in the stream on your behalf in this Virgo season. Everybody's showing you love, story time style. That is all right. So happy birthday to you, Disrupticon. I'm trying to find something right quick here. So we are certainly happy for you to make another year. We appreciate you in this Virgo season. I see I got a super chat. I'm trying to get my super chat song here. I forgot where I put it. Let me see. Let me see if I saved it here. Okay. Where in the world did I put it? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Where did it? Oh, let's see. What's this? All right, here we go. Is this it? Yes. Hold Hold on, bear with me 1 second. All right, here we go. Look at that. They're throwing. Look at that. Disrupticon, they're throwing ice cream and cakes. Hey, and you know what that means? I got a super chat. Somebody cares about me. I got a super chat. And you know what that means? I got a super chat. I got a super chat. Well, Savvy says, happy birthday to you, Disrupticons. Look at that. Misha Lee is dancing, got the confetti going. Anywhere where they called out a zodiac that was not a Virgo, Disrupticons, they said no. Disrupticons said, I just turned 20. Okay, you almost legal. Well, Savvy says, happy birthday to you. Edward Smart is clapping his hands, grooving to the beat. Bruce LaFleur says, do the dance. No, Bruce, this is as good as it gets. Happy birthday sung to you, story time style. And then you get to rock to the tune of my super chat song. That's as good as it gets. No dancing for me. Thank you, Gigi, for that super chat, sis. Everybody's saying no, Disrupticons, when we called out those zodiacs. Even if it was their own, they said no because they know we are celebrating you in this season. Look, Brand the Wolf Knight says no. Look, Well Savvy says, working that thing out. Gio says Virgo. Bruce says, do the dance. Bruce, I won't do the dance, but one night 50 plus and Sharp Bus was blessing me so much with them super chats, I thought I was going to have to get up and do something a little strange for some change. Look at that, Disrupticon. They give you 3 and 4 cakes, slices, whole cakes, ice cream. Look who we have that the cat drug in. We got Mr. Random, showed up at a random hour. How are you, brother? He says, hey, Deborah. We have sincerely yours, Nadia, in the building tonight. She says, hello, Deborah in chat. She walked in the building doing cartwheels. All right. Gigi says, hey to Mr. Random. Sincerely, Nadia, you've been featured in a couple of stories. I don't remember which ones because we've done so many. But if you ever decide to scroll through my story times, I have your names in the description area if you were featured in a story. Same to you, Mr. Random. I think you might have caught one of yours. Same to you. I appreciate you all. We did our story, but you'll have to catch it on replay. We got Mr. Random shouting out Gigi. So is sincerely yours, Nadia. Still doing them cartwheels, jamming. We be jamming. We still jamming to that super chat. Mr. Random says, Deborah looking like money. Oh, thank you, Mr. Random. Ching. Cha-ching. Hey, and you know what that means. I got a super chat. I got a super chat. Sincerely yours, Nadia says, oh, wow, thank you. I will catch it. Yes. Yes. I appreciate you coming. But you all have to catch it on replay. But we just finished celebrating Disrupticon's birthday, Stevie Wonder style, and the 2 Live Crew style. But at this time, I'm going to go ahead and end story time. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you who stopped by to see me during story time. I don't take your time for granted because you could have been anywhere else but besides hanging out with me by the fireplace. I appreciate you all. Always remember, until we meet again, may his peace be with you. Story time is every Monday, Wednesday, Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I will see you all at the next story time. If you haven't hammered that thumbs up button on the way out, please do. I really appreciate it. And always remember, I have a will to live. Good night. I love you all, and I will see you all at the next story time. Good night.